Ah, sit down, child, sit down. Yes, right there by the fireplace. You see that old wooden clock over there on the mantel? The one that always ticks, day and night? Yes, the one you've been asking about since you were just tall enough to reach it. That clock, oh, that clock has a story. Not just any story, mind you, it is the story of our family. Our mistakes. Our laughter. Our secrets. You want to hear it? Very well. But mind you, it's not a story that can be rushed. Some things take time to tell. And clocks, my dear, teach patience. I made that clock myself. Every joint, every gear, every delicate little hand. I carved it from the cherry tree out back, the one that used to bloom in spring right outside your great-grandmother's window. The wood smelled sweet, like honey and summer rain. I remember, as a boy, watching my own father wind the clocks in the house. He had dozens, you know. Each tick was a heartbeat, and each chime, a memory. I was about your age when I first learned to make things last. Not just objects, mind you, but people, family, memories. You see, wood, it listens. It holds what you give it. That cherry tree held the sunlight, the rain, the snow, and eventually, it held my hands shaping it into something that would, I hoped, outlast me. Your grandmother, yes, your grandmother, God rest her soul, she didn't care much for my tinkering. Why carve another clock, Ivan, she'd ask. We already have 5 in the house. But I wanted it. I wanted a clock that was ours alone. Not just to tell time, but to tell stories. And perhaps, one day, someone in this family would understand its heartbeat as I did. Ah. I see you staring at it now. The way it ticks, it's steady, isn't it? Even when I was sick, even when the house felt empty, that clock never stopped. It kept time, like we all must, even when the heart is heavy. Your father, yes, your father, he didn't appreciate it at first. Like you, perhaps. Always impatient. Always rushing. But one rainy afternoon, he came into my workshop, the one behind the garden, remember? The one with the dusty window and the smell of cedar shavings? And he sat on the stool opposite me. I didn't speak, neither did he. We just watched the clock swing, the pendulum moving like a heartbeat. And in that quiet, I saw something flicker in him, a respect, perhaps, or curiosity. That clock, it has kept our family together in ways we never understood at the time. When your mother had her accident, yes, accidents happen, child, even to the best of us, your father would come home from work, heavy with worry, and he would wind the clock. 1 hand, 2 hands, and slowly, the house felt like it breathed again. Time, you see, is a strange companion. It heals. It punishes. It carries the weight of every laugh, every tear, every whispered secret in the dark. That is why I made the clock. Not just to measure seconds, but to measure us, to hold our memories safely in the turning gears. But, as with all things we love, time is also cruel. When I was your age, I believed I could stop it. Stop time, that is. I wanted to freeze the summers, the laughter, the smell of bread baking in the kitchen. But time, it has a way of slipping through your fingers. Your mother, she grew up, you see. Went away to the city. Left the old house and its clocks behind. Your father, he tried, but he couldn't hold on to everything either. And eventually, even I, had to realize that some stories must be told before they fade. Now, this clock, listen closely, it has a secret. A hidden drawer, tucked beneath the lower panel. Only one person ever knew about it, me. Inside that drawer, it contains a letter. My letter. Not just for you, not just for the family, but for anyone who might come to understand the weight of time, the value of patience, the love that passes silently between generations. I'll tell you what I wrote in that letter, though I never intended to reveal it so soon. To whoever finds this clock in the future, know that our family is stronger than the sum of its pieces. A clock does not keep itself. A house does not shelter itself. And love does not speak unless we let it. Treasure each tick. Treasure each moment. And remember, even when I am gone, I am still here, in the turning of the gears, in the swing of the pendulum, in the silent tick-tock that marks your days. Funny, isn't it? How a simple piece of wood and metal can hold so much weight. Your father didn't understand it at first. Your mother, not at all. But when the time comes, and it always does, you will understand. I hope you do, my child. I hope you do. Ah, but I am getting ahead of myself. Before the letter, before the hidden drawer, there were years of ordinary life. Years of mornings spent picking apples with your grandmother, evenings of sitting by the fire while I told stories of my youth, of my father and his clocks, of how we survived the war, the hunger, the cold winters, and yet, despite all the hardships, we laughed. We sang. We loved. And that clock, over there, it witnessed it all. You see, child, every scratch on that wood, every small dent, every little chip in the glass, it tells a story. Not the story of perfection, no. But the story of life. And life, my dear, is messy. It is unpredictable. It is fleeting. And yet, it is beautiful. I remember the day your father learned to wind it himself. He was small, clumsy, nervous. He nearly broke the pendulum. But I let him try. You must treat it gently, I said. Like life, like people, like love. And he did. Slowly. Carefully. He understood, just as I hoped he would. That understanding, that quiet respect, it is what keeps a family alive. Not wealth. Not power. Not even the house we live in. But small things, small gestures, the care we put into each other, the attention we pay to the little moments, like winding a clock. Now. I can see you are restless. You want the rest of the story, the one about what happened when I passed and the clock stopped. The one about your father and how he finally found the hidden drawer, the one that changed everything. But that, my dear, that is a story for another night. A story that requires a calm heart, a quiet mind, and perhaps, a cup of warm tea. For now, remember this, time is patient. It will wait. And so must you. Treasure what you have, cherish what you love, and never underestimate the power of a simple wooden clock. Because sometimes, the smallest things are the heaviest, and they carry the most love. Now, let me tell you about the day I left this world. Yes, that day. Funny, isn't it? How people speak of death as if it is sudden, cruel, and final, but I did not leave without noticing. I watched the seasons turn one last time. I felt the last chill of winter and the first warmth of spring. And most of all, I watched my family, my precious children, my grandchildren, unaware that I was already preparing to say goodbye. The clock, it stopped the moment I took my last breath. Not because it could not tick without me, mind you. Oh no, that would be foolish. But because I wanted them to notice. I wanted them to pause, even if just for a moment, and remember. Time waits for no one, yes, but sometimes, a still moment carries more weight than 1,000 ticks. Your father found me that morning. He stood there in the doorway, rubbing his eyes, not quite believing the stillness of the house, the silence in the air. And there it was, the clock, frozen at precisely 6:45. A strange time, you might say. But time is arbitrary, isn't it? A man-made measure of moments that pass too quickly. I chose that moment, for a reason that you will understand soon enough. The house, oh, the house felt empty. Not just because I was gone, but because a part of it was always me. My hands had touched every wall, every beam, every surface. The smell of cedar from the workshop still lingered in the corners. Dust had settled on the edges of the shelves, and the sunlight poured through the window in the same angle as it had for decades. But it felt quiet. Too quiet. Your father, he did not know what to do at first. He tried to wind the clock. The key turned, but the pendulum refused to move. Why now? He whispered to himself. Why now, of all days? He had always been a man of action, you know. He hated waiting. But this required patience. Days passed, and the clock remained still. The house seemed heavier, the air thicker. Your mother tried to distract herself with chores, the garden, cooking. But even she noticed it, the absence of that steady heartbeat that had accompanied us all our lives. And the children, your cousins, they felt it too. There was a quiet unease, a sense that something precious had paused, waiting for the right hands to restore it. Ah, but that is the beauty of my little secret. Hidden beneath the lower panel of the clock, a drawer. A small drawer, almost invisible. Your father found it on the third morning, after fumbling with the clock for hours. And inside, my letter. He read it alone, sitting on the worn leather chair by the fireplace. I remember the look on his face, the same one he had when he first learned to wind the clock properly. Confusion, curiosity, a flicker of understanding, and then, tears. Oh, how men cry quietly, child. Especially when they finally understand the weight of what they have been given. The letter told him everything. Not just advice about life, not just reminders to cherish the family, but secrets. Stories from my youth, mistakes I had made, and lessons I had learned too late. Stories I never spoke aloud, not because I did not trust anyone, but because I wanted each of them to discover it when they were ready. I had written about your great-grandfather, who built the first clock in our family, and how he taught me that every tick is a promise. About your grandmother and the sacrifices she made silently, about the laughter we shared and the quarrels that left scars but also healed us. And most importantly, about love. How it is fragile, easily forgotten, but infinitely resilient. Your father sat there, letter in hand, and he began to understand what I always hoped he would. He realized that the clock was not just wood and metal. It was a vessel. A vessel of memory, of patience, of quiet guidance. And he also realized that he had been looking for me, trying to find answers, when all along they were right in front of him, ticking, waiting, whispering softly in the gears of a wooden clock. The days after, oh, the days after were strange. Your mother cried in the garden, planting flowers in the beds we had tended together. Your cousins wandered the house, curious and afraid, touching the walls and shelves, wondering why everything felt heavier without me. And your father, he wound the clock. Slowly. Carefully. Reverently. And on the third attempt, the pendulum moved. The tick-tock filled the air, steady and comforting, like a heartbeat returning. That night, we all sat in the living room, listening to the clock. It was as if the house breathed again. And your father, he spoke for the first time about my hidden drawer. About the letter. About how sometimes, the smallest gestures, a hidden note, a carefully carved clock, can hold more love than 1,000 spoken words. Ah, and this is where the story takes a turn, child. You see, that letter, it did not just speak to your father. It spoke to all of us. Each sentence, each word, carried a message that was uniquely for whoever read it. It revealed truths about ourselves, about our family, about forgiveness. About holding on when life seemed impossible, and letting go when it was necessary. I had always hoped. I had always prayed, that one day, someone would understand. That someone would take the time to notice the small things, to cherish the quiet moments. To listen to the heartbeat of the clock as it measured not just time, but life itself. Your father, he understood. Your mother, eventually. And the children, in their own way. They learned that our family's strength is not in wealth, not in fame, not in the things we leave behind, but in the moments we share, the love we give silently, the patience we practice, and the memories we pass down. That night, as the clock ticked and the fire crackled, I watched from afar, in spirit if not in form. And I smiled. Because the story was not ending. Oh no, child, it was only beginning. The wooden clock would keep ticking. My words would remain. And in time, you too would learn its secrets. Remember this, life is measured not in years, not in wealth, not in grand gestures. Life is measured in small, steady ticks. In patience. In love. And in remembering. Now we reach the part of the story that will make your heart beat a little faster, child. This is the part where my grandchildren, the youngest of our family, begin to uncover the secrets I left behind. You see, by the time I passed, your father had already read my letter and understood its meaning. But the rest of the family, well, they had yet to discover it for themselves. It was a sunny afternoon, one of those rare spring days when the air smells of wet earth and blooming flowers. Your cousins were gathered in the living room, curious and cautious. I had left the clock on the mantel, its pendulum swinging, its tick-tock steady and strong. Yet, somehow, there was a whisper in the air, a quiet invitation. Something was waiting for them, something they could not yet see. The youngest of the grandchildren, you, wandered closer than anyone else. Your small fingers brushed the wooden surface of the clock, feeling the grooves and scratches that had been etched by decades of life. And then, your eyes caught it. A faint seam at the bottom of the clock, almost invisible to anyone older or busier. But you noticed. Curiosity, child, it is a wonderful gift. You pressed gently, and the hidden drawer slid open with a soft creak. There it was, the letter, aged and carefully folded, the handwriting unmistakable. Your first instinct was to read it, and you did, slowly, reverently, as if sensing the weight of every word. And oh, the magic of that moment. The letter spoke not only of my life but of theirs, your cousins, your parents, and even those who were yet to be born. It told stories of courage, of mistakes, of forgiveness, and of love that is patient and enduring. You read aloud, hesitating only slightly, and with each sentence, the room changed. Your cousins sat closer, leaning in. The air seemed lighter, filled with the echoes of laughter from long ago, with memories that were not their own yet felt familiar. You see, I whispered to you from somewhere beyond, the letter is not just words. It is a bridge. A bridge between the past and the future, between what was and what will be. It carries our love, our mistakes, and our lessons. And now, it is your turn to listen, to understand, and to carry it forward. The letter spoke of small gestures, things that often go unnoticed. A touch on the shoulder. A patient ear listening when no one else would. A quiet sacrifice made without recognition. It spoke of love that does not demand attention but is always present, like the tick of a clock in the quiet of the night. By the time you finished reading, tears were in the eyes of even the eldest cousins. They turned to your father, who sat quietly in his chair, his gaze soft, his hands folded over one another. This is why he made it, your father whispered. Not for us to measure time, but to measure life. The rest of the day passed in a kind of reverent silence. The grandchildren played quietly near the window, but the letter remained open on the mantel. Everyone seemed to understand that something precious had been passed down, something far more valuable than any object or possession. And then came the evening, when your father shared another secret. The clock, he revealed, was not just a letter holder. Inside the mechanism, there was a second, smaller compartment, one that required a careful hand and patient attention to open. He had discovered it only because I had hinted at it in my letter, through words that seemed simple but were layered with meaning. Inside that second compartment, this was the part one had saved for the grandchildren. A collection of tiny items, a pressed flower from your grandmother's garden, a small carved figure of a horse from my childhood, a photograph of your father when he was very young, and a tiny key, a key that, when used with care, would wind the clock in a special way, one that would make it chime not just on the hour but at moments that mattered most. You see, child, life is full of small wonders, small reminders. And the clock, it is alive in more ways than one. Each item in that compartment carries memory, carries love, carries the essence of what it means to be family. And now it was up to you and your cousins to honor it, to learn from it, to pass it forward. Weeks turned into months. The family began to gather around the clock every evening, sharing stories, laughter, and sometimes tears. Each chime of the clock became a reminder of patience, of the beauty in quiet moments, of the value in listening and in caring. It reminded them that life is fragile, fleeting, and yet profoundly beautiful. And sometimes, in the still of the night, I would watch. I would listen. I would smile at the way they were learning to love each other, to forgive, to remember. That was my greatest gift, child, not the clock itself, but the love it held, the stories it carried, the bond it created across generations. Years later, when the grandchildren grew and moved away, they would return, one by one, drawn by the steady tick of the wooden clock. They brought their own children, their own stories, their own lessons. And each time they came, the clock welcomed them, its pendulum swinging, its gears turning, carrying with it decades of family memory, of love, of patience. And so, the clock endures. A testament to the life we lived, to the love we shared, to the moments that matter most. It is a reminder that even when I am gone, I am still here, in every tick, in every chime, in every quiet moment when a hand touches the wood and a heart listens. Child, remember this always, life is measured not in years, not in wealth, not in grand gestures. Life is measured in small, steady ticks. In patience. In love. And in remembering. And that is the story of the wooden clock. The story of our family. The story of how love can endure beyond the limits of time, whispered softly in the gears of a simple wooden clock. Now we arrive at the part where the full circle closes, child. Where the lessons, the memories, the love I poured into that wooden clock finally bloom in the hearts of the family. It was a quiet autumn morning. The air smelled of fallen leaves, of distant smoke from chimneys, and of the first frost on the garden soil. Your cousins had returned, your father and mother sat together, and the grandchildren gathered once more in the living room. The clock ticked steadily on the mantel, its pendulum swinging like a heartbeat, a rhythm of life itself. I want you to picture it clearly. The sunlight streaming through the curtains, the dust motes dancing lazily in the air. Each face in that room carried a story, stories of childhood, of growing pains, of quarrels and laughter. And now, all those stories converged at one point, the wooden clock. The youngest of the grandchildren, yes, you, took the lead, carefully opening the hidden drawer once again. The letter was still there, its words faded but vibrant with meaning. You read aloud, this time slowly, savoring each sentence, each piece of advice, each story I had left behind. The room grew still. Not a cough, not a creak, not a shuffle of feet. Even the clock seemed to hold its breath. You see, child, I whispered, my voice as soft as the rustling leaves outside, the letter is alive only when it is read. It does not speak to the inattentive or the hurried. It requires patience. It requires a heart that listens. One by one, your cousins discovered their own connections to my stories. A memory of me teaching them to carve wood, to bake bread, to plant flowers. A memory of me telling them tales of my youth, of hard winters and long summers, of mistakes and triumphs. And with each memory, a tear, a laugh, a soft smile. It was your father who finally spoke. I understand now, he said, his voice quivering slightly. You didn't just want us to remember you, you wanted us to remember ourselves. To see the love we have for one another. To see the patience, the kindness, the small acts that make life meaningful. Your mother, usually reserved, reached out to hold your father's hand. And to forgive, she added softly. To forgive ourselves for mistakes, for moments of pride, for lost patience. Ah, forgiveness. Such a fragile, powerful thing. I had written about it in the letter, about how our family had quarrels and misunderstandings, but how love could always overcome them if we allowed it. And in that room, in that quiet autumn morning, I saw it happening. Hearts opening, apologies whispered, laughter breaking through tears. Then came the final discovery. The tiny key from the second hidden compartment. You, brave and curious, inserted it carefully into the slot. Turned it, slowly, and a soft chime rang through the house. Not a harsh, mechanical sound, but a gentle, melodious chime that seemed to echo through time itself. Each note carried memory, carried love, carried the presence of everyone who had ever touched this family, this home, this clock. The grandchildren laughed with delight, running to each other, hugging, and even shouting over the sound of the chimes. And in that joyful noise, the family realized something profound: the clock was not just a clock. It was a heartbeat. A symbol. A bridge. A reminder that though life is fleeting, love endures. Weeks turned into months, and life continued. But something had changed. The family gathered more often. Meals were shared with laughter and stories. Arguments were softened by patience and understanding. And the wooden clock ticked faithfully in the background, a gentle reminder of what truly mattered. I watched all this from somewhere beyond, my heart swelling with pride. The lessons I had carefully crafted, the secrets I had hidden, the love I had silently given, it was all alive in them now. And in their joy, their laughter, their moments of quiet reflection, I was alive too. Time, child, is a strange companion. It can feel cruel when moments are lost, when words go unsaid, when hearts are closed. But time is also merciful. It allows for understanding, for patience, for the unfolding of stories that might otherwise be forgotten. And sometimes, if you are careful, if you pay attention, time carries love forward in ways that are almost miraculous. Years later, when the grandchildren grew into adults and their children came to visit, the wooden clock remained a centerpiece. Its gears and pendulum kept turning, its chimes ringing softly through the house, carrying stories from one generation to the next. The lessons, the letters, the hidden compartments, all reminders that love, patience, and memory are the most precious things one can leave behind. And now, child, as I speak to you one last time, remember this: life is not measured by what we own, what we achieve, or how others remember us. Life is measured in the small, steady ticks of our hearts, in the love we give silently, in the patience we practice, in the memories we cherish, and in the stories we leave for those who come after us. The wooden clock, our family, these are more than objects or words. They are proof that love endures. That memory endures. That time, though relentless, can be a friend if we listen carefully, if we cherish it, if we allow it to teach us. And so, my dear, the story ends not with an ending at all, but with the continuing tick-tock of life, the laughter of family, and the quiet, enduring heartbeat of a wooden clock that will carry our love forward, forever. Sit quietly now. Listen. Hear the clock. Hear your family. And know that I am always here, in every tick, in every chime, in every quiet moment when you pause to remember.